Hello, so today I'm going to be showing you how to make South African biltong. Biltong is similar to beef jerky, but I think much better. It's much thicker than beef jerky, and it is very, very, very traditionally South African. And wherever I've lived in the world, I've always made my own biltong, and Norway is no exception. I'm going to be seeing my son in about a week's time, and he has asked me to please make some of my biltong for him and take some biltong to him, where I'll be meeting up with him in Copenhagen. So without any further ado, I'll show you how I make biltong. It's so quick and easy to do, anybody can do it at home. So you need some kind of container with the lid that you're going to put your meat into, and you'll need a little bit of Worcester sauce and some brown vinegar, which you will mix Worcester sauce and brown vinegar together. You need obviously some beef. I'm not too sure what cuts these are, other than it's beef. And here in Norway it's very difficult to get a big chunk of beef. It's all comes cut into these small pieces, and as I'm only making it for my son, hopefully this will be enough for him. For the spice rub, you're also going to make your own little spice rub, because I don't see any point in ordering stuff to come from Amazon, which you can, but I put in about a teaspoon of oregano and about half a teaspoon of chili, and I had about 4 teaspoons of black pepper. You're supposed to use whole coriander seeds, which you roast and then crush up, but I can't get that here, so this is quite coarsely ground, so it's worked perfectly every time I've used it. So it's 5 teaspoons of coriander, 1 teaspoon of garlic, 5 teaspoons of salt, and just a 1/4 teaspoon of bicarb, and then that becomes the rub, which I shall put on the meat after I've cut it. So let me get it out of these packets and start slicing it thinly. So I've taken the meat out now, and it's not always the best cuts of meat, but it works. So I'm going to slice it now into about this size. See, it's got to be about that thick. Okay, this is definitely not the best cut to use. This one, these ones look much better. Okay, so I'm just going to cut this in half, because I don't have too many days before I go and see him, so I don't want to cut them too thick, because I want it to dry quite quickly. So let me just cut these. These are going to have to be short, fat pieces. I like, if there is a bit of fat, I like to keep the fat on. It's very difficult to get any meat with any fat at all here in Norway. They usually cut all the fat off. It's difficult when I make sausages as well to try and get the fat so that the sausages are not too dry. Okay, so let me cut. I'm just going to cut this one. Maybe I'll cut it into 3. Okay, so I've got my biltong sliced. They're not very big pieces of meat, but usually if you've got a rump, it'll be much longer than this, but it is what it is. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to just dip the meat in the vinegar Worcester sauce mixture, and then I'm going to rub it in the rub that I made. Just make sure that it's well covered, and then put it into my container, which I will be covering. Oops, I did the wrong order. And then into the rub. You want to try and cover it quite well. The vinegar is quite important because it helps preserve it, as does the salt. And the other spices are just for extra flavor. I like things with a flavor. I don't like bland, boring food. So let me just get this done. So I didn't make a big mixture because, as you can see, I only had 600 grams of meat. Meat's quite expensive here in Norway. Mind you, these ready sliced steaks like this only cost 29 kroner a packet. That's, oh, it's about $3, €3, something like that. So I've made actually just enough of the vinegar Worcester mixture and just enough of the rub that I don't waste much at all. I don't know what I'll do with these little pieces. Maybe let's just dip it in here too. That will be my little taster that I'll make. So you can see I haven't wasted very much in the way of the rub, and the leftover vinegar Worcester sauce mixture I'm just going to pour now on the top. Sprinkle it a little bit on the top. And this is now going to go, that's what it's going to look like. And this will now go into the fridge, and tomorrow night, because usually I'd leave it in the fridge for 2 days, but because I'm running out of time, I've left making this biltong a bit late, because I leave on Thursday to go and see my son. So I will be hanging it tomorrow night. So I'm going to put the meat, which has been sort of marinating with the rub and the vinegar Worcester sauce mixture, in the fridge for over 24 hours. I'm going to thread them on these little hooks, which will then, I'll hang them in the biltong maker. These hooks came with the biltong maker that I ordered off Amazon. So As you can see, the meat is ready to hang on the hooks, and I'll be hanging it up. Let's just take it over here. So when you hang it, you make sure that each piece of meat doesn't touch the other one. So you got to make sure that there's a gap like that, so there's no touching allowed, because I think if it touches, that will affect, I don't know whether the meat goes bad. I suppose, I'm not sure. I just know that it mustn't touch. I'm not 100% sure as to the reason why. Piece that I didn't know what to do with my taster. Right, so it's all hanging, and you can see from that side what it looks like through the case. And to put the lid on, it's in. Right, now just to switch it on. It's now switched on, the fan is working, the meat is hanging, and now we just have to wait for it to dry. So now I have taken the biltong that's been drying out of the biltong maker, and I'm now ready to take the hooks out and slice it up. As you can see, you cutting it into quite thick sort of chunks. You're not cutting it very, very thin like I suppose like beef jerky. So I suppose this is the difference between biltong and beef jerky. You can dry it longer. This has been drying for 3 days. I like it when it's still just a little bit pink, and yeah, I'm ready to finish chopping this up, put it into a bag, and when I see my son in Copenhagen on Sunday, I'll be giving him some of his homemade biltong. You can give a thumbs up if you have liked this video. Please comment below, and I think it would be absolutely fantastic if you could subscribe to my channel. I post videos at least once a week, so I love meeting you online. I think I might have a happy son when I see him. Well, I hope so at any rate.